Coming up on this edition of Europass, we'll show you how travel and education can go hand in hand while living in Europe through the University of Maryland University College's field study courses. We'll travel with a group of college students to Scotland, where we'll explore some of the historic sites, learn about Scottish history and culture, and a whole lot more. That's all up next on Europass. Welcome to Europass. I'm Petty Officer Kim Smith. Pursuing your college degree while stationed overseas might seem like a difficult goal to achieve, but the University of Maryland University College in Europe offers a wide range of solutions to help busy service members and their families achieve their higher education goals, and not all of them involve sitting in a classroom.
Living in Europe offers many unique educational opportunities in pursuit of higher educational goals. Take, for example, these students. They're doing more than just exploring the sites during their off time for leisure. They're enrolled in a course with the University of Maryland University College, or UMUC, and during a one-week trip to one of Europe's most iconic cities, they're knocking out an entire college class while earning a full 3 semester hours course credit towards their degree. These classes are called field study courses at UMUC, and the students discover that the sites are even more interesting when they know the history behind them.
Field studies are a one-week-long experience where you're actually going to a major European city and actually studying its culture, its architecture, its history, its literature. So you're not just looking at it in a textbook, you're actually looking at something like this, and it becomes real for you, it becomes alive.
People in the States are taking a class and they're learning about famous writers, famous historians, famous art, but they're reading about it in books where they can't experience it. And so you can take advantage of being in the exciting place where history and culture and art coincide to make for a very rich learning experience, all for credit for getting a degree with the University of Maryland.
UMUC offers field study courses in key cities throughout Europe, like London, Florence, Brussels, Naples, Venice, Paris, and many more.
And there we're trying to follow great historians, great artists, great people in literature, and actually look at the times, the places, the contexts in which people lived, people worked, and to draw this out into a learning experience for credit.
Field study courses with UMUC almost sound too good to be true. Let's head up to the United Kingdom to find out what a field study course is really all about.
Now let's catch up with a group of UMUC field study students in Edinburgh, Scotland, where they're taking in some of the key sites while learning about Scottish history and literature.
Seen numerous castles and ruins in Edinburgh and outside of it. We've gone to St. Andrews and got to see the university there, and then the castle on the water there as well. The famous Royal and Ancient golf course, that's where they have the British Open. Don't tell that to the Scots. Our tour guide joked.
Another historic site the students visit is Stirling Castle, the the ancient fortress of Scottish royalty.
Which is probably the most important, I would say, castle in terms of Scottish history. So we learned a lot about the Stuart kings there.
Stirling Castle, one of the great ancient fortresses of Scotland, of course. In recorded history, for almost 1,000 years, there has been a royal castle of Stirling on the site, dating back to the early 12th century.
Not far from Stirling Castle is a monument to one of Scotland's most famous historical figures, William Wallace, the champion of Scottish independence.
Guardian of Scotland, an old brave heart himself, and it overlooks the site down below of Wallace's most famous victory at the Battle of Stirling Bridge.
After visiting Stirling, the group heads back to Edinburgh, but takes a quick stop at the historical battleground of Bannockburn, where Scotland's great king, Robert the Bruce, led his army against the English for one final battle and achieved Scotland's independence from England's tyranny.
And it's a crushing defeat for Edward's army. Indeed, he's almost captured himself, Edward, at that time. And if he had been captured, the ransom would have been absolutely astronomical.
The group also visits the site where Robert the Bruce is buried, the Dunfermline Abbey.
Up until the time of Robert, Edward I of England thought that there should be a crown in Scotland subservient to his. And it's thanks to Robert Bruce that Scotland was a nation in its own right.
Another site on their whirlwind tour is the Linlithgow Palace.
It's where Mary Queen of Scots was born. Her father, James V, was also born there.
I didn't really know anything about her before I came here. It was just cool to see where she had walked and where she would have stayed and lived, and I just think her life was very interesting.
The group certainly packs in the sightseeing, but don't get the idea that a field study course is just an organized historical tour on steroids. Field study courses are comprised of an intensive week of study, both on location and in the classroom.
It's very intense. We're on the go all day long, but they're really getting the experience, which they wouldn't get in a classroom.
You're learning so much in a span of 7 days, and you're doing so much, but it's very worth it.
It takes more than a 3 or 4 day pass to learn a nation's culture. So going on these field studies is a way for me to get to know a little bit more in depth about a place that sounds interesting to me or a country.
Field study courses offer one of the most memorable college learning experiences one can have in pursuit of their college degree.
I can read the stories now, and I know what they're talking about. They'll mention places in Edinburgh, or they'll mention places in Scotland, and I can see it in my mind's eye because I've been there and I've seen it and I know what they're talking about, and that's very helpful, and it's very cool to be able to read in a book someplace you've been, and in the States that wouldn't be possible. I've
gotten to see these places that stir the souls of the Scots, and what they enjoy, and to enjoy that myself as well makes it for a much more richer learning experience.
For a relatively low cost, because they're living in Europe, they can fly to Paris, they can fly to Venice, or they can take the train to Paris. They can get to Scotland fairly easily, and it's a hands-on experience. So it really brings everything alive. It brings the history, the art, the literature alive. So I can't imagine why a student wouldn't want to take one of these classes.
That wraps up our show for this week. We'd like to thank the University of Maryland University College in Europe and the students in our class. If you have a place you'd like to see us visit or a program you'd like to know more about, send us an email to europass@afn.dma.mil. To see this program again, log on to our website at afneurope.net or find us on Facebook. I'm Petty Officer Kim Smith, and we'll see you next time on Europass.